Howdy, Stephen Rios here with the Propolympians podcast, episode number 2. We got quite a bit going on today, so we want to go ahead and jump right into this so we can get to our guests. So, Matt, real quickly, tell us how you can listen or watch us.
What's up, everyone? So it'll be on YouTube. It's just search Prop Olympians on YouTube. I think it's the only Prop Olympians in the world. We got a trademark at Rios, but
We do.
anyway, so it'll be on YouTube, and then also it's on Substack, is where it's hosted. So you can subscribe to the Substack. It's propolympians.substack.com. You get an email every time a new episode drops. I don't know, we're gonna do them every 2 or 3 weeks, month, something like that. So we don't have a regular basis. So subscribe so you can get the email whenever it comes out. And then also it's on Apple Podcast, Google Podcast, Spotify, some other random ones that people maybe put it on. But anyway, it's all over the place. So just search for Prop Olympians and you're bound to find it because it's a special name.
Yeah. If not, ask one of us. We'll send you the link.
We'll send you the link, or I can get it on whatever podcast platform you like to.
Nice. All right, real quick, before we get to our guests, I also want to uh, show you guys how easy it is to donate a reoccurring donation to the Old Maroon Club. All this money goes back to the current team. Matt will put a link down below or within the notes of the uh, however you're watching us or listening to us. Yeah, there you go. So you can either do a one-time gift, or what we suggest doing is doing either a monthly or annual gift. You can click on that. It gives you the options, and it has different levels that you can click on to put your credit card information in, and you have a recurring donation every month or once a year. You choose the date on when it happens, and that way you can give to the club continuously. And once again, all that money goes back directly to the club in some sort of way. We'll have Mr. Mormon, the Old Maroon president, on in about a week or two, and he'll be able to further explain how the dollars, like per dollar, goes back to the club, whether that's through the endowment or directly to the club and I think it's called the Excellence Fund, where they can actually pull directly, and it goes towards water on the field, whatever they need. Either way, your dollars go directly back to the club, and it's really easy to do, y'all. And this is the best way to give back to the organization. So, but now that we have that taken care of, we want to get back to the man of the hour, and it is Coach James Lowrey. Welcome to the podcast. Thanks for being here, brother. So,
Thank you for having me, fellas. Can we
you're
just
on.
hold until we get more
Yeah.
donations? We can continue talking after that demonstration.
That's what we need to do. We need to do like a telethon thing where it's like live and like James will tell one story for every donation. So and just keep it
Yeah.
going like the old school
Brilliant.
call-ins,
We've got a
And
bunch
he'll
of
start
Nice.
singing for a certain
Yeah.
value. He'll sing for us. And
Yeah.
Well, you don't
Maybe
want
we can
that.
start doing like it live too, and then it start people just like ring in.
Yeah,
So we'll wait, see if we get any comments on the text thread then.
I would love it.
So
Thank you for having
James,
me.
for today, man, I really want to get like a little bit of piece of like the man, James Lowrey. A little bit of brief history on you. You know, your time in New Zealand, coming over to the States, and then we want to jump right into you being at A&M, coach at A&M, and the first years, the good, the bad, what you learned, the time, as, coach during COVID. I know that was tough, and like you kept the ship going, and then, this last year, y'all were successful as hell, and there's a lot to be built on to that. And then, of course, what you're doing moving forward, as we all know that, you're moving along to, something new. So, really, we just this is your time, man. We just want to be here to hear you out. So, floor's all yours, brother.
Okay. It's funny, whenever people ask me over the last couple of months, at my brother's 21st, my father is a very quiet man, soft-spoken. Not really known for his humor. He goes, well, and it was his turn to speak at my brother's 21st, and he goes, well, my brother was conceived in the back of a car, and just this horrendous joke. It killed. But I was floored. I couldn't believe how, blue my father could get. I say that to maybe I can't really tell, where I was and what happened, but no. So just a typical Kiwi, born and raised in Auckland, New Zealand. Rugby is our football.
So, do we need to get somebody on to tell your conception story? Is that where we're going with this, or what?
Yeah, I thought we'll start off with the laugh. Why not, right? Yeah. Yeah, no, born and raised in Auckland. Played rugby. Everyone wants to be an All Black. Did that, but mum and dad had a very good work ethic academically for us, so that was just as important. Sometimes it was optional, obviously, for both of us. So mother's from Samoa, dad's from North Otago in the South Island, came up to Auckland. So I had an upbringing of both balanced, very Kiwi-centric with the Samoan, very proud Samoan heritage neighbourhood. Grew up in Auckland, played rugby, made Auckland age grades as a rugby player, but also aspired to go to university. I went to university, University of Auckland. Pretty much that's it. Played some men's rugby, went to England, played some rugby there, had a few offers to go pro, said no. Went to university for film and TV. Movies were my first love. And I chose to go a different route there and go to performing arts school in Australia. And then came back to New Zealand, where things changed drastically. My mother got ill, and so put my aspirations on hold in terms of academics. But my mum persisted to continue to play rugby and follow my academics. I went to drama school in New Zealand. And then when mum left us, it kind of inspired to put all that life experience and move to where it's all at, in the United States of America. Some things fell through when I was supposed to go to LA. So I met Brewers, Braves, Brewers, the Blacks, and a few of the Austin Blacks guys on a Canadian rugby tour. And they said, hey, look, if things don't work through in LA, come to Austin, play for a season. I went to LA. I went to Austin. Fell in love. Stayed for a little bit. And played for the Austin Blacks for a little bit. Things fell through. Went to LA. But while I was in Austin, I coached at Westlake Austin with Aaron Cahoon, Aaron Cahoon. And from there, I got to know what an Aggie was. Had no idea what it was. I just heard it was an ongoing joke. It was just a cult. You don't want to go there. It's just College Station. I remember, and from there, I need to take a deep breath. From there, once things went south in LA, the boys at A&M needed a bit of help. So they reached out to me after building quite a reputation. I said, well, I'll come and take the job. I'll do my best. And the rest is history. I've been here for 8 years.
And remind me, what year was that you came on? Because it's been, 8 years now? 7 years?
Yeah, fall of 2015.
Oh yeah, that's
Yeah.
right.
Time flies, man.
I remember it because it was the Rugby World Cup, and New Zealand won it. So hopefully win it again.
Yeah. All right. Yeah. And I think that was right around the time me, Blake,
Yes.
and Chase had just kind of started with the Old Maroon, and because we were part of that process of who are we gonna find, And I remember that just being like, we got we have somebody, and we're like, okay, and like all the like everything lined up just perfectly um, for you to be able to come on in and help out. So one, thank you, because you've been solid since then, man.
Yeah,
Um, I know it hasn't been easy,
yeah,
especially with everything that's been like, COVID and everything, and having to almost kind of like start fresh. It seems
yeah.
like. Um, but man, you've done a hell of a job. You know, getting the
Yeah.
team back to, you know, where it's competitive. They're competitive again, and there's a lot of hope. And expectations are on the rise again. So
And I appreciate it. I
I
don't
know in
think.
the men's rugby landscape.
Yeah. Sorry, Matt. Go ahead.
Oh, I was gonna say I know like on the men's rugby landscape. At least I've been seeing that like COVID killed like a lot of clubs. They built up all this momentum. COVID killed it, and then it started back over and build it up again. And just come from the outside looking in, that's probably what's happened to A&M too. It's probably made it even more difficult, I guess.
It was, but I guess the more, I wouldn't say warming fact, but we had to understand the whole world was under it. So nothing, A&M rugby was
Yeah,
an exception, but nothing was special. Politically, you could say Texas was a little different, um, and Texas was no exception to the rule. But I think by then we already established a culture. And going back to your point, Rios, I wouldn't have it any other way because we had to start from the ground up and rebuild the culture. Um, and I'll allude to it down the road, but what we started then is paying off now. We've got guys who grew up in Texas who want to be here, and they have opportunities to go to more rugby-centric schools. So the reputation of the university speaks for itself, but the rugby program speaks for itself as well. Um, you say what you like regarding of where our cap is right now, our ceiling is right now. It's more of our floor because we've got a huge ceiling. But I wouldn't change it. It allowed me to dive and put my footprint into it, really dive into, dig my feet in. It was something really rewarding, as tough as it was. And I had Phil Grieve here help me for the first two couple of years, and he built a club from scratch from Cal Fullerton. So I had that wisdom, and I had the ambition. I mean, I had the ambition to say, hey, outside the sevens USA sevens team, that Texas A&M should be the second fittest team in the country. That lasted for about 3 weeks, so
yeah,
I had to let go of that. And most Kiwis are stubborn, and most coaches psychologically will tell you they're pathological about how they want things done, and that's the reality of it. You have to be, um, but ambition is a good thing, and it's been pride is something I have had to negotiate as a Kiwi, and things take time. So as I grew, the club grew. That makes sense. Yeah,
yeah, yeah. No, absolutely. Go. What was your expectations were obviously pretty high coming in,
yeah.
and yeah, the USA Sevens fitness, right?
Oh,
What other I think pieces you had to learn at the
mm,
very beginning? That
yeah.
if for the new coaches coming in, making sure like, hey, FYI, this right here,
Mm.
or I would do this differently, or my expectations, or um, trying to maybe build a better gap, between Old Maroon and the young guys. How is that achievable in your eyes, or what would be like the top 2 or 3 points I think you would suggest for the new coaches coming in?
Mm. Have have the courage of the conviction to control what you want to control. Don't stress over things that you can't, and just keep building on what works. Because the system
Hmm.
is flawed. It really is. And you guys have been a part of it, and you've felt the frustration. And now that you've kind of maybe stepped back a little bit from the game, from the outside, you can see it's not working. There's a reason why Portugal drew the USA Eagles, and you want to be a proud USA rugby fan. And I mention that because it starts from the bottom up, and that everyone's a part of it. So you can't control the system. So understand how the system works, control what you can control, do it very well, and make sure that everyone is having a good time. I'll elaborate on the good time, because the players and the parents in particular, because they're young, they're not self-sufficient, they don't have their own careers, they need to be aware of how the system works. But they fundraise everything. They pay the kids' dues, they pay the fellas tuition at school to go and play rugby, as well as getting an education. So they need to be aware how everything works. And if you can understand that, you can actually make a pathway of how to succeed and improve and contribute and help shape the system. So yes, those two things are primal.
That's interesting that you bring in the parents, and how much they have a say. They do, because it's a lot of their money that's being put into the club, and we're trying to alumni, like make it our money almost, like putting it back in, right? So there's all these people that are wanting the kids to succeed, right? Going back to what you said, the system's flawed, as in, you mean like the structure of like club sport versus the schools that are, or the teams that are backed by the university?
No,
Are you talking about USA Rugby in general?
yeah,
Oh,
yeah,
USA Rugby in general?
and it
Okay.
doesn't have to be a particular entity, and I'm not. And it is a bit of an indictment because they've had over 100 years to fix it. Now, where they are on the hook is there should be numbers. The reason, and it doesn't have to have a proper position of USA Rugby. It's just a situation of the family and the game. Like we had Gareth Jones yesterday, and that was wonderful. You guys know how that works. But at the very crux of it, it's everyone playing the game, and then enjoying it and improving, and the coaches learning how to improve. You can't put a monetary value on the energy that sustains that environment. You can't. But you have to. Logistically, the parents are paying for it. They're balancing their time, this work schedule, their commitments as a family to help their kids play the game. But is there a pathway for them to get better? Is there a pathway for them to stay at a small town and go to the local college and play at the highest level? You guys both know I'm going from college, where it's a fixed schedule, to going to men's rugby, where you have to balance all of life and commit to rugby and try and perform at a high level. Why else would you put your body on the line? It's so damn hard. But you're not playing it. Are you playing it to go to the USA, to play for USA at the next level? Questionable. But you want to. There's a reason why you do these things. So, I'm losing my track of point here, I do. But my point of reference is that if everything's uniform, then you can actually improve uniformly together across the country. But in Texas, you have to be very careful. Texas A&M or at the club level, you have to be very sure of where you're going and how you're doing it. And there's a logistical commitment to that has to be honest if you're going to get better. I.e. okay, here's an example. We've got two teams. We had to enter one into the Lone Star and enter one the Red River. The Red River is D1A. Lone Star's not. D1A has all the gravitas, arguably, and Lone Star doesn't. But what's the premise of it? We want to play, we pay our own dues, we work hard. These guys want to play the game, and they want to go places that they don't know about. But we're subject to the teams around us. Baylor, Texas, Oklahoma. Huge names, huge universities, world famous. They're not close to us. but we can't hold their hand, so we have to spend more of our logistical resources to improve us, because that's who we can control and who we really want to care about. Do we care about the others? For sure. If I take my A&M hat off, I want all of it to be good. I'd like to go just around with Sam, Prairie View, and play competitive games. That's less than 2 hours away. That's what, $50 in gas maybe.
Yeah.
But we have to spend that at Bucky's on the way to Oklahoma. So it's
Yeah.
back and forth. So I guess you guys can see my point. There's a commitment there, and it's taxing on the resources. But you have to have a mindset of how that works in order to really know what you're committing to regarding alumni and telling them what they need it for, and they have to trust you that you're using it for that reason, so we can get better.
Yeah.
No, we both definitely know that because, I mean, when we were in school, we played the same schools, right? And we'd blow them all out of the water, generally speaking. But we'd have to go to California or Utah or Las Vegas, or we'd have to travel to go get good competition. And you go, then you're actually challenged, and then you can start building up your own, your own experiences when you play this better competition. But yeah, definitely the schools in California, when they're surrounded by competitive schools, the whole thing lifts up together, right? Same things for the Northeast, and whenever you're kind of in that, everything's closer and stuff. It's
Can
Yeah,
I feel that.
I thought prior to. No. Go ahead, Coach.
Sorry, just to fill that point. Sorry, Rios, didn't mean to cut you off. California, the California League, they just put the whole Southern California into one bracket. So so actually all of California. So Cal Poly has to go down and play San Diego, and it's just one big tournament, one big conference. I mean, as easy as that sounds, it's not that hard to figure it out. And then it makes too much sense. You play all that rugby up and down the coasts. There's the intrinsic value, the existential value of going up, and man, I get to go up to north and play a really good team, and I had to go down, I get to go on the beach there and really enjoy my life. That's what it's all about. Because if you enjoy it, you want to give back to it. And I made that correlation with the coaches with Johnny the other day. Not to go off on a tangent, maybe I can revisit the point if I can stop mumbling. I've already lost my thought. Fuck's sake. Rios, what?
The traveling.
There's so much I want to cover. I had some there. Oh God, carry on. I've lost my point. Sorry. I'll get
You're
back.
saying you made a point to Johnny the other day
Before that.
about California.
Oh yes, being solution centric. I mean, it is a rabbit hole for us, all of us, to complain. Oh, we need to do this and do that, and it's going to be tied to everything, fellas. Whoever's listening, you have to be solution centric, and the answer is money. If whether we get $1,000 or $100 million, it's a matter how you use it and what we do with it, and it's going to take time for it to work. Like Navy, yes, it is a military academy, but they're in the final. They're in the final after 1 year after going varsity. Now they threw some money in it, whatever arbitrary number it is, but the money's not winning the games. The people are. They're the ones doing the work every day. They're the ones doing the lifting, catching the balls. They're the ones coaching, telling the people, and utilizing their energy. It's time and money that will help us elevate. Whether we get $100 million tomorrow, it's still going to take time, and it's how you use it. If you misuse it, it may take even more time. So it's about being solution-centric and being very objective and pragmatic, and with spirited optimism of how to use it, and creating a competitive but a fun environment. It has to be fun.
I think you're right on point. It has to be fun, but I think for us to get where it is fun, you're gonna have to play those competitive games, and the competitive games are going to cost that money, right? To go to travel. I think having Arkansas State, in the conference now is definitely going to help elevate the competition.
Mm.
But next to that, I mean, who else is there? That's close by. I mean, I think we talked about
Yeah,
it briefly. Like maybe the team would have to play some men league games, but like
yeah,
I don't think the boys would really want to have to play men's league. They'd rather go and play a university that's you know to compete against. So
exactly. That's what you sign up for,
I
right?
don't know.
That's what
And
you sign up for,
yeah,
to play other college.
yeah,
LSU
for
was a
sure.
good
Yeah,
one.
no,
You were there. Yeah. You were there at Houston, right, when we beat them after a couple of years, and that was a great experience.
oh yeah,
But yeah,
yeah,
but that was the straw that broke the camel's back in terms of LSU. A lot of their great players, which I had the utmost respect for, and I think LSU is A&M's perfect opponent. They're working class kids. They do not care about the Aggie cult, and they just punch us in the face, and they want to win. But we can both see each other eye to eye.
hmm,
It's good. It's good for our boys. They're the antidote for a lot of our attitudes that we have that I have to suffer. I mean, believe it or not, I
yeah,
used to have at coaching A&M. Now I have no hair. I'm joking. Um, but um, but though it's a player-run club, and we can talk about club. And I mentioned the word fun, but those two words carry a lot of weight in where we are. We're a club. And those players that graduated from LSU, once they graduated, they did not carry it through. And culture is a big one, and we alluded to it at the beginning. Culture is one that I promote the most. Winning's a
hmm.
product of culture. Um, yeah, carry on.
I remember you harping that a lot through prior to COVID. You had some great guys that I know
Yeah,
are just probably waiting to be called on to like be part of Old Maroon.
yes,
The Connor Kellys and Bradens, those guys. I mean, and I think part of that was because Old Maroon, we were making a really big effort with you to
mm,
get to know those guys and pick their brains and have them in on some of the meetings of what we were doing. Like Old Maroon, when we did the retreats for the Old Maroon board, you were there, and so was Braden and those guys. Seeing like what we were meeting about and discussing, so that they
yeah,
get a little bit of a peek of it, so that the culture of giving back to the club after you've played is still
yes,
there. You know, um,
100%. Yeah. The
so and
coaching,
I think you did a
yeah,
great job of continuing that and really honing in on that with those guys.
it has to be. It has to be. I mean, I look
So
at you, Rios, and I look at you, Matt, and it's my job, and I take it personally to make you proud of what you look at when you look back. It is my job, and I reinforce that every day with the boys. I just wrote down here coaching tree. The 74 guys love Booze, Roger Booze, and those guys are involved with All Maroon. The 90s guys love Craig and Klinghoffer, and they give back. When I ask Alec, I need something, he doesn't hesitate. He says, "What do you need?" When Johnny and Craig, you guys love him and that coaching crew. Those boys, Connor and Braden, they're big fans of me. And the Jeremy Brown Scholarship was a donation to help me out as a club. It wasn't so much the club, and I don't. I say that because I'm proud of creating an environment where they want to give back to what they care about. So the common theme there is that you, all those coaches create an environment that you want to be a part of and give back to. You can only look at Cal, right? Those guys just give countless amount of dollars to Jack Clark because what it means in their life. Um, so culture has to be the foundation. It has to be. I want to go back to the point fun. Yes, you guys were so competitive, and I really wanted our club to get as good as you were. But it's outside the stress of fundraising, and Johnny alludes to these stories all the time. You guys had fun. I don't think you guys. I'm willing to bet there's no reason you're doing this because you didn't have fun along the way of working hard and being successful. And the word fun is, it can be quite taboo right now for these kids. And they are kids. I don't think I've ever had to use the term college kids so apropos this year because sometimes they're next to useless. And they can rewatch this, but I'm more than happy to tell them. Um, but they desire connection.
You've
They
been listening to
desire
Johnny too much.
no, no, no. Listening, yeah, for sure. Just listening. Um, Love you, bro. Um, they desire connection. They desire connection so much this generation, and fun is a key component to them, and it helps them become better athletes. You can see it on all social media platforms of pro players in this country. If they're not having a good time, they tap out. Even if they have millions of dollars, if they're not having fun, they quit. That is symptomatic of this generation. So you have to have that aspect of fun in the connection, in the environment that is conducive to producing a strong culture. It has to be. You're not going to get you're not going to get too far without it. And that's a big obstacle. But it can be enjoyable. It's rewarding for both parties. Because as a coach, you want to be having fun. You don't want to be telling these guys and holding their hands all the time. But you're doing them a favor as a coach to teach them how to be accountable, but also to let them know it's an environment you're making them better while having fun.
I agree with that 100% because, I mean, at least our class, we had Craig and Johnny, and we had a really tight knit group of guys, and we played for each other, and it was fun. We had fun on the pitch and off the pitch, and I mean, it's still to like why I think the sports meant so much to me, even after graduation and playing with men's clubs and going playing with the Blacks and moving down here and playing a couple seasons with Galveston, and they reached out to me. I didn't play this last year, but they reached out to me and said, "Hey, can you come play at least off the bench for one game?" And it didn't. I couldn't make it. I had something else going on, but like I got excited. I'm like, "Yeah, let's do it!" Like because I enjoy it and it's fun, and it's hard once you have family. It's harder to do that, but like I think if it wasn't, we didn't have such a great experience in at A&M with Johnny and Craig leading the way, then the group of guys we had, I wouldn't be 36 years old and still wanting to go run around and play, like and hurt myself. Like I just wouldn't want to do that. So
Yeah.
I do think that the culture and that fun is what's carried that with me all these years.
I
And
agree,
I'm very
Matt. I
happy.
mean, yeah, no, I agree. Winning's fun, but there were some years where we didn't win like we wanted to, but we still had fun. Like you're still with your buddies and with the coaches. The coaches were very much a part of it as well, where we had a good time. Uh, it the on the field product, did what it needed to do, and then I think we continued to that carried over into like the friendships and relationships that we built. You know, um, you know,
Yeah,
uh,
just to finish that
so
point,
yeah, no,
there's a narrative.
the team that comes in or the coaches team comes in, I know that they will keep that. I have a pretty good idea that I think we gave enough hell to Connor Mills when he was a freshman and we were a senior that he still knows to have some fun with some of those guys. Uh, but I'm looking forward to the transition and seeing that happen. Because
Yeah.
it seems like every coach that has come along has helped build the culture to like it continue to grow. There's a new piece to it that's been added. James, you added in your own little piece of that, and the players that are going to be transitioning with the new set of coaches, get to bring that on too. So
Mm.
um,
Yeah,
it's
just
going
to
to be it's exciting, honestly.
good. I'm excited for it too. Um, just to kind of close the loop on that narrative there, I don't want the older crew, and they know who they are. to see us smiling and talking about having fun. We're talking about a component to a culture that is needed for the young men whilst trying to get to the next level. Like I just want to make sure I'm talking that and finishing that point because a lot of people can misconstrue that like, well, they're just shooting the shit. No, there's a poignant point to it. It's a component. We want to smile what we're doing while we're doing it because we're not getting fucking Jimbo Fisher money. We are trying to create an environment that's going to have a component that's going to help us get to the next level. So just keep. Can we just have that fundraising bar down the bottom here? Just keep clicking as we're talking.
See the dollars and signs? They're coming up.
The dollar signs, get it going up. Yes, it's all conducive to it. So just please, you got to trust that the guys that are at the coalface, Johnny Smith and the new coaching staff, are trying to get there.
No, I
I
think there's
agree. I mean, for me, fun wasn't all about the parties and stuff like that. It was going to California. It was going to Utah. It was playing BYU and coming up just short. But having yourself tested with your buddies, going out there and being tested like that. For me, that's fun,
Yeah.
and that's like what kind of keeps you playing, keeps you striving. So
I mean, in general, rugby is fun, period. Right? Like, but the time, I think, I don't know why, like, to me, like, practice was just as fun as the games were, you know? And it was challenging because we had a whole bunch of guys and a whole bunch of characters out there, too, but we were all put through the same fire, you know? Like, it wasn't easy. None of it was easy. But I think the challenge of that and with your mates right there with you is what made it fun. You know, it wasn't just I don't know. I've been to, you know, some men's practices where it wasn't fun. I'm having to lead the practice and and it's stressful as hell. I get why you're probably, no hair, Coach James, because I've had to lead some practices. But I'm definitely gray, so I won't say that's all from rugby. A 2-year-old daughter helps out, but man, like,
boy, you were like that when you were 25. Shut up.
yeah, I was. It's just coming in thicker now.
I'm not gonna lie, my first impression
But
of
yeah,
you,
no,
Rios, is like, how old is this guy? What?
I think me and you are the same age, so
Yeah, it's like,
so.
wow, okay.
Yeah, no, I think I started going gray when I was like 22. It was like the first couple like sprouts that like popped up.
Dude, when
No,
we
they-
lived together, you were 22 and you were half.
Wow. They have doctors for
They
that. I'm
say
sure
gray
you can
hair
make-
is the crown of wisdom.
Yeah, well, I got it here. I'm pretty sure there's doctors for that. You can try and figure that out.
That's
No.
too much work, dude. Just letting it go all gray, man. Just going all white.
Well, at least you got here. Let's put it that way.
Yeah, I got plenty of it, for sure.
Oh, thanks. Appreciate it.
I'll leave my hat on.
I can lend you some. Would you wear a toupee?
No.
Um, so with the current team, or let's talk about this last year.
Hmm.
The success y'all had. Y'all did have success. I
Yes.
feel like y'all did really well.
Yeah.
And the fact that you had you brought it about the fact that you had two separate teams basically competing in two different conferences because
Yeah.
you needed to give those guys playing time.
Hmm.
I wish they would have that team if there was a way to like keep them because did they have the playoffs the gray side was there a playoffs
No.
in that conference?
No, the stipulation upon letting the team in was that we weren't allowed to qualify for playoffs. We just wanted the games, so it wasn't a big deal.
Got
Down
it.
the road it could be, but we had to deal with some characters. So, but it's beside the point. Yeah.
Gotcha. the the
Yeah.
and that's good to hear. Like you said, you had to deal with some characters. That I mean, that happens, right? It goes about the. It probably has to deal with the
Yeah.
culture, right? Making sure that the culture, right? So,
Yeah, but it's both
I think that's
conferences are
necessary.
both. Yeah, both conferences are coached, run conferences. So the characters are the
Gotcha.
adults, quote unquote. But yeah, I mean,
Gotcha.
I don't want to feel like I'm, um, making shots at people. But um, there's a generation there that could help grow the the state of Texas rugby exponentially, and there's a few holding it back.
Gotcha. Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. Um, going going back to it, last this past year, the success of this
Yeah.
team. Y'all
Yes.
are young,
Yeah.
very young. I think there was only
Yep.
5 seniors.
Um,
Where did we
yeah.
get the influx of
Two,
youth?
two o'clock. That's a good question. I think we've built the reputation over the last 3 or 4 years of being in the top 20 at least, and being in competitive rugby program. Now, does it fit kind of financially where people want to go and the talent that we inherit? Maybe a little bit. I think that you have to kind of consider that factor. I mean, if they're that good at rugby, they probably go somewhere else. But they actually are pretty good and want an education and want a well balanced life. And you guys are Aggies, so, there's tends to be a certain mindset around here. You want to enjoy both parts of the world, uh, of your college life. So we just a lot of them are Houston based. Our Jeremy Brown Scholarship awardee, Caden Vineout, our number 12, second 5'8". He came from San Diego, and he's just been a die-hard Aggie. But he wanted to be an Aggie because Johnny Manziel was here. So you can't really blame him for wanting to be here, even though I have no love whatsoever for that football team. But we got him. We got him because of that. And he likes the values, and he prefers the traditions and the maroon. And immediately he's made an impact. So the younger generation and the outreach of the SEC, it's hard. The SEC has been huge for the school. I think a lot of our guys, a couple of guys from Philly, New York, purely come because of the SEC and the engineering school. And the STEM program is just world class at the school. So you can't really blame them. And the Bradens, but they also had parents that are Aggies, so they have no choice. There's a
Yeah.
few of our guys that said like, well, I don't want to go to A&M, and the parents are like, well, fine, you pay for your own education, but if you want to go to A&M, I'll pay for your education. So it's kind of hard to beat.
Yeah, I kind of understand that a little bit more now that I have a kid and I'm planning my retirement, you know, to be like in
Yeah,
College Station,
yeah,
when she's like, when she graduates, I have like a house down there so that when she goes there, she can live there. And then
yeah.
when she graduates from there, then like I get to retire and like live in College Station. And maybe that's when my rugby like coaching time kicks in. I don't know. We'll see. So
Well, at
some of
this
those
rate,
guys have it good.
yeah, I think at this rate, Fort Worth would be cheaper than College Station by the time it's done.
Yeah, maybe. We'll see. So, if not a college station, maybe just like on the outskirts. I don't know. Enough, close enough to make a drive in for the games. So,
Yeah,
perfect.
absolutely.
We'll see if my wife agrees with it.
Okay, that's another
Um,
podcast. Yeah.
so how was Gareth Jones? Because that was yesterday, correct? You said
Yes.
how many teams did y'all have out there?
Oh, that's Johnny Quick. I think we had 36. I think. You're
Wow.
gonna get me
Wow.
a line. Um, but do I want to carry on with the success of this past year? Do you want me to talk about that?
Oh yes, please. Yeah.
Yeah, sorry. So yes, I thought it was successful on all fronts. I mean, You're as good as your record is, and that's a hard pill to swallow sometimes as a coach, but more for the players. We're not playing the game. The Cal Poly game was coulda, shoulda, coulda, but we it's hard to get the mindset of our boys being so successful in the Red River, and there's a real alchemy, like a real chemical reaction with these boys that really enhances their ego. Unfortunately, that they can't come back down to earth and go back to work against a better team. They have to play another team and then take their medicine on the national stage. And that was the narrative going in, and that was the narrative going out. I can't say I'm surprised, but hey, it's life, and these boys need to learn what it is like to work for what you want. So I consider that a success. And we were going to go to another step up against life. Again, it was a good acronym. It was a good analogy for the boys. That was the theme going in. You got to tackle life. It's a big team. Just go and tackle it. Have fun while they're doing it, and work hard and see what you're made of. And they learned the lessons they learned was invaluable. You can't, as much as we like to think we can't create that at training. We can't. And we had to go there, spend the money, so we learn it logistically what it takes, and then physically what it takes to be there. So I consider it a success. Red River, I put everyone else in the conference on notice of what they need to do to catch us, and it put us on notice to what we need to do to catch the rest of us. And for you old Marooners that are listening, especially the older ones, life scored at will against us. They couldn't score one try the following week, and the team that bet them couldn't score the following week. So that's a really harsh metric of of the ground we need to cover, and it's something that we need to again. Hopefully, more dollar signs are coming in as we're listening to help us get better. And that's the only way we're going to do it. Time and resources will get there. So overall, fellas, overall, and it's not I'm not being complicit in the results. It was worth the lessons for the boys and young men. And the new coaches are going to take that on board with hungry young men, and are going to take it to another level. And that was part of the transition. Johnny didn't believe me when I said I was going, and he's been absolutely wonderful and amazing in that transition. So the mindset is about teaching them about life, trying to make training as hard as you can, but sometimes they don't believe it's going to be that hard or that easy on the weekend. But overall, ladies and gents, it's just been a successful season. Off the books, we've got you guys saw the nice sweet jerseys. Got Takis as a great sponsor now, donating generously, and that's through the grandfather of our halfback. And that's a parent that saw an opportunity to help the club. So the parents have to be, I think down the road, have to be involved at some point. I mean, there's a lot of administrative and grey areas that you need to cover there, but to capitalize on parents with resources to help elevate us to, so it's not all on you guys to get better. It all goes in the same direction. And Johnny's doing a wonderful job of how to streamline that so we can all benefit from it while they turn up to training. They can see it. So yeah, overall, gentlemen, it's been a successful season. So we're healthy in the books, numbers wise, and I think we're very healthy and hungry on the field. And we're going to use with our Sevens Nationals down the road in a couple of weeks. Those guys are ready to use that energy right away. So it's not over yet, but it's going to be immensely successful.
You have the Sevens coming up, and it's in Houston, correct?
Yes, sir.
It's in Houston?
May 6th and 7th. Yes, sir.
And that's when it is, Cinco de Mayo weekend. We talked about that.
At the Sabercat Stadium.
Yeah, the coaches
Right,
will
there you go.
partake. I think the coaches will partake, I guess.
Oh, yeah?
No,
So is it
oh,
is, are you so you're still uh y'all working sevens in right now, correct?
yes, sir. Yeah,
Yeah. All
we've
right.
been
So
in
is that
sevens
you
mode for
at
a couple of
training, or is
Yeah, it's me.
Mills coming in and helping out any yet?
Absolutely. He's just
Okay.
been amazing. He's been coming up a couple of weeks. He came up periodically during the 15th season
Okay.
just to get an eye on a few of the players. I know he's hungry to work with the talented guys that we've got, which is awesome. And the boys are responding right away. Um, and it's really refreshing to have a
Right.
backs coach. I am a forwards coach by trade, as in the coaching. So coaching these backs has been fun and challenging. I want to strangle half of them half the time, but no, but it's been good, and it's been really refreshing to have Con around. Sky's the limit for that guy as a coach.
Nice. Good. It'll be. We're excited to get him on here soon, and Johnny as well. I spoke with Johnny a couple of times,
Yeah,
and I know. I think sometime in May we should be having him on this, and
yeah,
it'll be interesting to hear what the cool things he has kind of cooking up right now. Uh,
yeah,
having you know the team, and then him being the director of rugby. And I say the
yeah,
team, the coaches, then the director of rugby. Um, I
absolutely.
think it'll be interesting to see how that really works. And helping elevate the club. So um,
Yeah, and I think it's worth noting
uh,
Connor Mills is one of
expectations.
our own. Oh, sorry. Sorry, just because you'd be surprised of how just conjointed some of the Almerine. I know you guys are frustrated to that end. I recall when USA bet the French Barbarians in Houston after the French Barbarians bet the New Zealand Māori the previous week, and the French Barbarians had their third team, and USA bet them. Some guy commented like, "How did we lose? I thought we bet. Didn't they beat the New Zealand Māori last week?" I'm like, come on, no, that's not the team you bet. You beat. So there's a big
Yeah.
disconnection of how things are working. At Gareth Jones yesterday, even though we host the biggest youth tournament in the South, um, they had no idea that it was rugby at A&M. How does that work? So Connor Mills,
Yeah.
to the point, is one of our own, and he's played at the highest level in college. Um, so yeah, Connor Mills is one of our own is going to be coaching for all your listeners.
Yep. That's right. Connor played with me and Matt our super senior year, and he was a freshman. And yeah, we're excited for him. And then his dad actually coached the
Yeah,
A&M team for a year or two after we graduated. Uh, before we James. Uh, so I forget what those years were, but yeah, no, I think it was maybe
11,
2012
14, I
to
think.
15, I think. Um, but
yeah.
yeah, so
I think
the
it's
Mills are they're a big part of the A&M family. So which
yeah,
is exciting to see him come back and you know I mean he's done really well, and I'm super proud and excited to have him back. I mean he hasn't been anywhere, but to have him as a coach, it'll be fun. And then I think the Johnny and Connor Mills dynamic will be funny too, and it'll be good too because they work along really well together as well. So uh, it'll be fun. It's gonna be a good time, man. Like I said, I'm
We should.
excited for what's coming up, man. Uh, and a large part, once again, this thanks to you, James, and you put in your imprint on here at A&M Rugby. Um, before we head out, because we're getting close to the hour mark
yeah.
here. What what's coming up for you, man? What are you doing now? What's going on? Where are you going? What are you doing? Do you not know yet?
Um, I I do know. I'll probably go back to film school for a little bit. Like, take some classes in screenwriting again. Kind of utilize my degree
Nice.
there. Um, and give it a crack. COVID was a good exercise for
Yeah.
a lot of humanity. But don't waste anything. My mother said to me while she was going through chemo, she was out the back, and she'd always hang out the back on Sundays. And she said to me one day, she goes, if you're not doing what you want to do, then what's the point? And it's something I tried to live up to
Yeah.
most of my life, or for the rest of my life. So I'm not going to live my life with any regrets. And I just want to, just before the time's up, I appreciate the love and support you and trust, probably most, that you've instilled in me to let me take over this club that you hold so dear. And I take it personally to do you guys proud, and a lot of you listeners out there. So it's been a very worthy, very challenging journey. And it's been worthwhile, for sure. So yeah, I'm gonna have a crack at that. Long story short.
All right. Awesome, man. Well, nothing but love here, dude. And wish you the best of luck on your next journey. And I think that's from everybody. That's part of the A&M rugby family. The
Yeah.
time that you've given. You know, we talk about this all the time. The coaches give so much of your time. And just your mental capacity and everything to, trying to make 18 to 22-year-old men, right? And so,
Yeah.
thank you for that, man. And dealing with us
Well,
older guys too, that helping us as well. So,
yeah. I don't know
we
who's more
appreciate the hell
frustrating.
out of you, dude,
I'm joking.
and what all you.
I
I'm
appreciate
sure.
I plan
Yeah,
on coming
of course,
back
man.
That's
for
definitely what we've talked about. Is
yeah. Sorry, I'll plan on definitely coming
Plan on
back
coming
and
back to
playing
Old
Old Maroon
Maroon?
game. Old Maroon and play with you guys. It'd be fun.
let's go.
Yeah, love that. There we go.
Yeah.
You gonna be
Maybe
with
we get
Matt in
more
the backs,
than
or are you in the fours?
Depends on my lungs, I guess.
All right.
Yeah.
Well, let's.
Yeah,
I'm
pleasure.
gonna hold you to
Yeah.
that. So, man,
Um,
appreciate it. I know we're at the time mark. Matt, you got anything?
No, again, I mean, it's something me and Rios talked about is, when you're students, you don't recognize or really realize what it takes for a coach like you or Johnny or Craig or any of the other guys that have done this, what they really dedicate, what they really do, and what the time and effort it takes until you grow up and you have your own family. And, like, I can't even make it out to one training a week to play rugby, right? And, like, you guys are coming out 3 nights a week and then plus a Saturday, plus film sessions, plus this, plus that, and everything else. And it's a definite commitment, and it's just something that, in retrospect, looking back at it, I'm like, man, I didn't really recognize or realize what it took, and so it makes me even more appreciative of what you guys are doing.
Yeah,
So thank you.
absolutely.
welcome. Yeah. Keep
Well,
giving us
with
money.
that, yeah, dollar bills going up, down at the bottom.
Yeah, there it is. Can
Let's
you edit some things? Yeah.
yeah, the little.
I need you to start making it rain, and I'll make it like a little gift shooting fire or shooting dollars going.
I look
All
forward
right,
to catching
man.
up
Well,
with you
hey,
guys soon.
thanks again, James.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's been a great time. Appreciate it, brother. And the next one I think we're gonna have either Robert Mormon on or Johnny. So if you are listening to this, you've made it to the end. Hit the like and subscribe button, and we'll get some more content out for you guys. So
And
see y'all
James, I
next
guess
time.
we'll see if nothing else. If I don't get a chance to see you in Houston here in a couple weeks, which I'm gonna try to make it out, I'll see you
Yeah.
at Old Maroon. You better be there.
100%. You can be there. Good ball, fellas. Love you guys. Aggie Rugby community.
Yeah, love you too,
You
man.
too.
Future is bright.
Appreciate it.
Thanks, guys.
See you guys.
Thank you.